sometimes, when we talk about cinema with friends and all, like, usually there is this question, it's been a long time since we've seen Parvati. And I'm like, didn't you see her last year and the year before that? how could-
It is
do you get asked that, or like, have
a
you had
lot.
any?
The funniest
Yeah.
part is, so this is something that I noticed someone else had said is, you finish a project and immediately when you go and tell someone I've just finished a project, the next question is like, so what are you doing next? And I'm like, but I just finished a project. Like, it's a huge thing that I just finished. So maybe
Yeah.
I don't want to do another project that fast. Like, there is
Yeah.
this expectation that one must stay busy in a certain manner. And that's the
Yeah.
only manner which is accepted as being or validated as success or validated as, oh, you're being valued. Like, thankfully, for the longest time since I ever started actually acting, I've never adhered to any particular definition of what busy is like.
Yeah.
Frankly,
Yeah.
it was quite busy. 2022 was the year when I was making all these films.
Oh, okay.
So when anybody asks me, it's like, "Paridinappa കാണുന്നില്ലല്ലോ, where are you?" And I'll be like, I am doing the job that you will eventually see. Like, so, but because I'm not putting anything out on social media that, oh, I'm
Yeah.
shooting this one. So that
Yeah.
posturing is something that I feel sometimes for me, it's great. It's happy to share that, oh, I just finished this. And I do sometimes post a few things. But most times I feel like also a little protective of the process. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is this is the time to do the deed and not talk about the deed. So you
Yeah.
just do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I kind of miss that. I was telling some of my friends that, like in the old days, the only time we see the actor is on the screen, and until
Absolutely.
then
Yeah.
you don't see them, because back then there were only magazines, right? And like, especially
Mm.
people, someone from the 90s, 90s kids.
Yes, of course, man. The best era I want to say, but I don't want to get into, trouble for
Yeah.
saying that. But
Yeah.
here is that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what, recently I saw an interview of Manoj Bajpayee, and he was talking about this grueling process here, like, this anxiety that he gets when when he's trying to figure out the soul of a character. So, and, people usually think it's a very easy process, right? I mean, it's just, with the click of a button. No, it's not. So,
Yeah.
how is it for you, like trying to figure out, the essence and how to play it, like, whether it's loud or quiet, and how does that work?
Most of the times it starts with me asking the director what he or she wants. Like, what do they want to do with the character in terms of, there are so many different ways to play a character. So you can be spoiled for choice. So you do
Hmm.
need that direction that, oh, in your mind or in your vision, how does this character fit into the bigger story? So do you want to? So sometimes it's based on, they even do this thing where they are basing the character on the edit or the effect they want.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like it's it's this very difficult part to just figure that out. Like, for example, in one of the characters, I would feel, oh, she's a very quiet, meek character. But the director will be like, no, 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 no. I want her to bring in the chaotic energy. And I'm like, but what's her chaos like? Her chaos is different than my chaos. So now I
Yeah.
got to sit down and talk to you. What is this character's chaos that you are aiming at? So once that conversation happens, then it is amazing. Then it's like a joyride. It's the, what do you call that thing? The giant wheel in the
Yeah.
amusement
Yeah.
park.
Ferris wheel. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is literally the feeling, right? Like, you start from the bottom, as you go up, you get this surge of the adrenaline when you reach up, and then you feel this dip coming down. So when I'm using that metaphor, I do believe it because the process is as exciting and scary as it can be once a conversation. But then I do also have worked with directors who completely decline any opportunity to talk about it. That's just their way of doing it, and
Yeah.
it's okay. So that basically means, it's a trial and error method. I will create my own stories and everything from what the script that has been given, the script being the one true blueprint for all of us.
Yeah.
And then when you get on set and you try something and the director's like, but that's not what I want. So I would already have certain options in my kitty, like, okay, wait a second, this doesn't work. What about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that case, it's very difficult to predict the outcome, right? Like how the audience is going to perceive it, or like
Mm.
whether you want it exactly as how you see it on screen, or
Yeah.
um,
So that's easy though, Sajin, because I don't try to get into the process of figuring out how the audience would perceive it.
Yeah.
Because each particular person who's watching it are watching it to, and their perception of what I have done is colored by their life experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I'm talking about each single person who's watching it. So sometimes we talk about the audience as one group, like, or a one
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like tiny, tiny, tiny droplets, each so unique in their own way of perceiving it. We might,
Yeah.
let's say for you and I go watch a movie, maybe we do agree on some few facts that oh, I really like that. That made me laugh. Oh, yeah, that made me cry. But that's where the similarity of our experience of having perceived that movie, that's where it ends.
Yeah.
Because the after effect of the storytelling that does to me is that,
Mm.
oh, I have gone through something similar, or that, oh, I have never seen any characters like this in my life, so I now judge them, or I think very lowly of them, or I think highly of them.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
definitely colored by each person's experience of life, so I don't even try to, because it's such a pointless pursuit, I feel, and that will only give me anxiety, and
Yeah.
then not it won't allow me to do my job very
Yeah.
freely.
Yeah.
I don't even try to perceive my own performance. Like I don't have a set
Yeah.
idea of, oh, this is how I want people to see it. No.
Yeah.
You can take anything you want from this.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
even for a film critic, it's difficult to explain, why they said certain things about a film. It's, unless someone who understands. So,
True. Yeah.
yeah.
It's not an
The-
easy job. It's definitely not an easy job. I mean, I feel
yeah.
like it is the least understood job. It is
Hmm.
also been trolled quite a bit for what they do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there is a science to it. So of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because, like recently, Roshan Matthew told me that, there are performances where he puts in a lot of effort, but that won't get the expected reaction. And at the same time, there are roles which he didn't really care about, but in the end,
Mhm.
I might have liked it. And he's like, how can you like that performance? Like,
Yeah. No, but isn't that the most like frustrating yet liberating part of this job is that you have no
yeah,
control. The only thing you can do is the choice you make in front of the camera that particular day. And the only thing I aim to do is that when I go to sleep at night after a long day of work, being a
hmm,
character, I am happy with the efforts I have put in, the choices I have made. And if I'm
hmm,
not happy with the choices and effort I've made that day, the next day I'll do better. But
yeah,
other how it comes around and how it's tied up in the edit room, again, another human being with their own intelligence and craft working on it. And then
yeah,
all of that gets compounded and gets released and goes into another complex human being to watch.
yeah.
I have managed my expectations beautifully. I have no
Wow.
expectations. Yeah.
You are in that space now, that Zen
It's a
space.
very, very happy space. Yes. Yeah.
So when it comes to this OTT, like now you've done a series and this is a film, right? Kadak Singh, Kadak Singh. So
Yeah.
do you find that liberating, the whole process of doing a long form series as opposed to a 2 hour
I,
feature?
I, f- no, I feel like it is quite the same in terms of performance for me. The only thing
Hmm.
I believe is different is when there are 8 episodes for a character to have an arc, there is a certain patience with which one can watch it. There is no,
Yeah,
or write it more than it. So it's more important, I feel, for the writers that get into the long form and the short form part of it. And then now the short form is feature compared to
yeah,
this, not short
yeah.
film. So in that sense, I feel as an actor for me, let's say Kadak Singh, I had an X amount of days to work in Kadak Singh
Oh,
for a character. And for my OTT release, it was pretty much like a movie only. It's like another
yeah,
40, no, 25 days or so
yeah,
is what exactly I would give for a film. So
yeah.
technically and logistically speaking, I didn't find any difference. But I
Hmm.
did see the, what's the word for it? I saw the leisure with which the
Hmm.
character developed in the series
Hmm.
and the crispness that was required for Kadak Singh.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Because you have so many other characters to also tell the story in a 2 hour 15-minute film that my
Yeah,
character can't take up more space. It'll have to be a
yeah,
very that editing part is a little more crisp when it comes to a feature length film.
yeah,
So this is again like an observation from my side. Otherwise, as an
yeah.
actor, I found no difference in my performance or my understanding of the character or anything. This was just an observation to me.
Yeah, it depends, right? Because sometimes you need that time bound process. and in other
Yeah.
cases it might take longer. Yeah.
No, funniest part is, Sajin, that some films, which is 2 hours, supposed to be 2 hour, 2.5 hours, have shot with me for 80 days. And some series can shoot with me for 24 days.
Yeah.
So there is no, it's not directly or inversely proportional. There is no proportion to this. There's no
Yeah.
one rule to set.
Yeah.
But in any project that I do, I would like to know that these are the number of dates that you need from me, just so that I can give my best.
Yeah.
And that's just the logistics part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what were the requirements for this role? You're playing a nurse in this, Kadak Singh?
Yes, I am. I'm playing Miss Kannan. Miss Kannan's first name is not known to anybody. Miss Kannan is very mysterious like that. But what
Oh.
excited me is that this is not something that I had said a lot. But my
Mm.
initial conversation with Tonida was not something that got me to say an immediate yes. I
Yeah.
was very conflicted. I was like, oh, I really want to work with him. Oh my God, I really want to work with Pankaj because the only person I knew was doing that film was Pankaj
Pankaj.
was doing the main role. And that is
Yeah.
going to be Tony Da who's directing the film. I was like, how can I let go of an opportunity? Because the character did not just stand out on paper. On
Mm.
paper, it did not, it was like, and I was like, what is this character's stake in the story?
Mm.
Try to tell me why you've written her. There is a reason why the writer. So then had a conversation with the writer also. There was a long Zoom call. And Tonida said something that really just won me over. He was like, well, if you come into this, and Pankaj Da are also, well, so Pankaj Ji is also there, both of you are going to create something that is way above the page. It's going to be, there's a word that he uses for improvisation, which I think is a Bengali word, is laikari. Like
Oh.
we will, we will build it on set,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
All you need to know is where she's from and who she is in her core. The rest of it is going to be magic on set.
Okay. Mm.
And for once, I just was like, I'm going to believe in this magic. Maybe we will all fall flat on our face, but maybe we
Yeah.
won't. What if we fly?
Yeah.
So, and we flew, we soared high with this. It was one of the best decisions made in my career, I feel, having done this character. Whatever the takeaway for the audience would be, as an actor, for me, it's a feather on my cap. It's like this is what will this is set a benchmark for a filmmaking experience.
Oh, okay. Cool. So, like, what were the discussions like when it comes to figuring out the dynamics between you and Pankaj's character and reading
It
up
was
about the condition?
yeah, it was very exciting, mainly because he keeps telling this. I don't know if you've noticed in any of his interviews. He says this is the only relationship in the story that does not have a label of any sort. It is the most mundane thing that you can see. It's like I go to a pharmacy and the pharmacist is selling me, let's say, a Dolo 650 or some painkiller.
Yeah.
There is an icon that there is a human interaction there. I'm not invested in his life or her life, and they're not invested in my life. But for
Yeah.
that split moment that I have spent giving him the money or giving the prescription, there is an interaction which is a very valid interaction. It
Mm.
is not, it's not nothing. It is a part
Yeah.
of our life. You go to the grocery store, you know the grocer
Yeah.
there. You buy these things.
Yeah.
They know that I like the apples. They know
Yeah.
that this, and they'll tell me next week when you come,
Yeah.
this will be there, by the way. I mean,
Yeah.
I find it so exciting to have a look at those relationships also.
Yeah.
Not
Something that's not
everything needs to be
complicated.
the, yeah, it is so
Yeah.
complicated. So when you're saying that, let's say you have a daughter, you're a husband, or you have somebody whom you are married, like in the societal structure, like you have a relationship with them, which has a label attached to it. We
Yeah.
have made films about such people,
Yeah.
but there hasn't been a storyline which is about a nurse and a patient.
Yeah.
And even if we write, there is a possibility that we make it a love story, or we
Yeah.
make it a story about enmity, or
Psycho
we
thriller.
make it complicated.
Yeah.
How about it's as transactional can be?
Yeah.
The nurse is
Yeah.
doing her job, the patient is being a patient.
Yeah.
Where can the magic come from? It seems like such a stale, ഒന്നും നടക്കില്ല, nothing is happening in this, right?
Yeah. Clinical.
It's clinical, but it's not. Because it is still two human beings in a room.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
there are two human beings with their own life story in a room, without them discussing anything personal about each other or forming a relationship or friendship or confidant or anything. Nothing. They're as transactional as possible in their job, in their space. They know who they are for each other, but
Yeah.
still there is magic. So you'll see it when you watch the film. And I find that
Yeah.
with anybody else, I would have asked, why did you write this character? This movie could have been there without her too. But when you
Yeah.
watch it, you realize the element that it brings is a very key element. And I saw that the writer and the director saw that we will not make a movie without this. And I commend it. Because any other producer, director, writer would be like, let's remove this. Yeah. I mean, why what is it adding anyway? But there is an element
Yeah.
that it adds. That's
Yeah.
very important, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to it. And,
Yeah, thank you.
so, last question. What can you tell us about Thangalaan?
I was supposed to talk about Thangalaan. I don't know.
No, no, just something brief because that's another role, that's quite exciting.
Yeah, I don't have the brief on what I'm supposed
Oh.
to say about Thangalaan. We all get briefs about what you're supposed to say. I can say one thing for sure, and I don't know. This is a personal take, so it may not
Yeah.
speak to the audience for what they have to expect. I have to say that it's a larger than life film that I am in awe of. I
Yeah.
mean, of course, we've seen period films and many other things, but this film goes way beyond just being of a period.
Yeah.
And I got to play a character who has fundamentally changed me forever.
Wow.
I am like, man, this woman has just come into my life, given me the honor of being her for as long as I acted. And
Yeah.
she has brought me home to myself, you know. So
Oh, finally.
this is really good build up. So I think
Yeah.
this is enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So thank you so much and
Thanks, Sajid.
wishing all the best. Yeah.
Thank you. Take care.